My coworker weaponized my medical history against me, so I weaponized her own words against her. I was sitting in the office break room when my friend made a joke about flying with my implants. Jill was at the table next to us, ears practically twitching with interest. By 5 p.m. that day, every single person in our 45-person office knew I'd had breast surgery. What Jill didn't know was the real reason behind those implants, and that ignorance was about to destroy her entire life. You know the type of coworker Jill was? The one who collected personal information like ammunition, always fishing for details she could weaponize later. She'd made herself bulletproof by befriending Debbie from HR and half the management team. Jill had this sick talent for making comments about people's appearances that cut deep but stayed just shy of actionable, always delivered with an innocent smile. She'd already targeted one colleague's weight and made anti-Semitic remarks about another's nose, but she was strategic, choosing elevators and bathrooms where cameras couldn't catch her. The harassment started immediately. Comments about me being more plastic than Barbie whenever I walked past her desk, then fake in 2 ways during meetings, complete with gestures toward my chest. A friend told me she'd called me a sack of silicone in the break room. By month 2, she was making assumptions about NHS funding, convinced I'd scammed taxpayers. I approached her privately 4 times over 3 months asking her to stop. Each time she'd give me wide-eyed innocence, then escalate the next day. What Jill didn't know was that 4 years earlier, I'd watched my mom die from breast cancer. Both grandmothers died the same way. When I went for screening, specialists found potentially cancerous cells in my breast tissue, like ticking time bombs. After watching 3 generations of women get destroyed by this disease, I chose bilateral mastectomy to eliminate the threat entirely. The surgery left me with 2 massive, jagged pink scars that sent me into severe depression. I threw out every mirror and got physically sick catching glimpses of my own reflection. I stopped leaving the house, stopped caring about anything. My therapist suggested a plastic surgeon who recommended implants specifically to hide those scars and save my mental health. That's the only reason I had them done. The breaking point came during lunch in the packed break room. I made an offhand comment about something being shallow when Jill's eyes lit up like Christmas. She gestured toward my chest and announced loud enough for everyone to hear, "Well, you'd certainly know all about being shallow, wouldn't you?" The entire room went silent. Something inside me snapped, and I looked her dead in the eye and told her exactly why I had those implants. The cancer cells, the mastectomy, the scars, the depression, every horrible detail while her face drained of color. I finished with, "So maybe next time you want to judge someone for cosmetic surgery, you should ask why they had it first. You absolute piece of sh." The aftermath was swift. A third of the office offered support while the rest said Jill was joking and I was oversensitive. Then came the email that made my blood run cold. Debbie wanted to see me about creating a hostile work environment. But here's the thing about being harassed for 3 months. You develop hyper-awareness of details. I found the section in my employment contract about requesting an impartial overseer if my reviewer had conflicts of interest. I photocopied that page and prepared for war. I messaged colleagues who'd offered support asking them to document Jill's harassment. 20 people agreed to provide written statements. I spent that evening documenting every interaction, the 4 times I'd asked her to stop, exact dates, and everyone who'd witnessed the lunchroom confrontation. Next morning, I collected signed letters from 16 colleagues detailing specific quotes, dates, and witnesses to Jill's harassment. Some included examples of her targeting other employees I hadn't known about. At 10 a.m., I walked into HR with my evidence folder. When Debbie tried to handle my case, I politely requested an impartial overseer due to her personal relationships. The supervisor got involved, and suddenly all 4 of us were reviewing my mountain of documented evidence. They grilled me for over an hour, but I had answers for everything. 16 signed witness statements, security camera footage of the lunchroom, detailed accounts of my attempts to resolve this privately. After they dismissed me, I watched the systematic destruction unfold. One by one, every witness got called for interviews until everyone had been questioned except Jill. At 4 p.m., she finally got called in and returned 30 minutes later looking like she'd seen a ghost. At 5:15, Jill burst back into the office completely unhinged, shoving her belongings into a cardboard box while announcing that I'd gotten her fired through lies. As she stormed toward the elevator, my phone buzzed. I opened the email while watching her furious face disappear behind the closing doors. The subject line read, "Urgent, additional allegations," and the first line made my blood run cold. During Jill's final interview, she revealed information suggesting you may be in immediate danger from other parties. I scrolled down to read what Jill had actually told them in her desperation. According to the transcript, when they'd pressed her about how she knew so many intimate details about my medical history, she'd broken down and admitted that someone had been feeding her information about my surgery, my scars, even my therapy sessions. Someone with access to my private medical records had been coaching her on exactly which psychological pressure points would hurt me most. I stared at the screen in horror, realizing that Jill hadn't been my tormentor at all. She'd been someone else's weapon, and I'd just destroyed the only person who could tell me who was really trying to break me. Full story on channel linked below.